Hey, what's up, beautiful people? Samson Williams here. I'm having a straight fan moment from my brother from another mother, Jeremy Williams, out in Abu Dhabi. That's in the United Arab Emirates. So he tagged me on LinkedIn, and it's all great things happening either on LinkedIn or Twitter. He was like, hey, listen to this podcast number 407. What podcast am I talking about? 407 on Dismissed. It's by Disruptive TV, so occasionally I get it wrong, but his Jeremy Williams podcast is Dismissed, number 407. It's with Brandon Busteed. I'm cheating because I wrote down a bunch of notes because I listened to it on my way to work. I'm about to do some work over here. Then I had to write down, so when I got here, I had to listen to it again because it was just so much fire. So Brandon Busteed, he works at Kaplan. They're talking about the future of education. Why do you care about the future of education? Again, I listened to it again. I took some notes. I'm not going to give you all the goodness, but Jeremy said, in America, we have a college or die mentality. And I was like, that's just so fire. So true, college or die mentality. Then he said, again, he lives in the United Arab Emirates. He's originally from Gary, Indiana. He said, surviving is your entire goal in America because of debt. And I was like, just dropping the microphone because I was like, that's so hot, so true. So much more thought to go on that. And then he brought up a really interesting, him and Brandon Busteed from Kaplan, they talked about having industry recognized credentials. And I was like, that makes so much more sense than a 4-year degree, because a 4-year degree doesn't actually mean you know how to do a specific thing. I think coding is a blue collar skill, and I want to continue to say this. So in general, I agreed with what they were saying. I don't agree with everything, but because I'm doing what I love, I'm going to talk about this. Because Brandon Busteed, he introduced this concept of go pro early, and I was like, what? Go pro early? That is so fire. Because typically I say it takes 3.5 months to become a United States Marine, 9 months to make a baby. What do you do in school for 4 years? There's typically an expletive in there. But seriously, what do you do in school for 4 years? Why aren't you going pro early? So check out Brandon Busteed. He's at Capital University. On Monday, October 28th, if you're here in the district, he's going to be speaking about creativity and learning, preparing today's students for tomorrow at Gallup. I will drop that link down below because he was saying some stuff and I was like, this is so fire. What does it mean to be work ready? Brandon and Jeremy, they had this whole conversation of what is work ready? Because a degree doesn't actually make you work ready. It just means you're $30 or $1,000 more in debt. Debt should not be a rite of passage. And I was like, ooh, that just sent chills down my spine because like, that's so true, because this goes back to that first statement, college or die. So in America, we're focused on particularly communities of color and black folks like myself. It's like, go to college or die, but debt shouldn't be a rite of passage. And so what does college look like in the future? And the last point I'm going to bring about is that the on-campus college experience, it's overrated. Is it? I think it is. So I'm very interested to see what the future of formal education, credentialing, accreditations, and certifications look like, particularly for professionals and in communities of color. And as we go into more technologically integrated systems, how is our educational system going to keep up? We're not all about the tech. Brandon brings in some concepts about the humanistic perspective, which I think are important to have. And so check out Dismissed on Disruptive TV, episode number 407 by Jeremy Williams, my brother from another mother from Indiana who's living in Abu Dhabi. He's a principal out in Abu Dhabi. And I didn't know you were getting your PhD. We're going to have to talk about that. It's available on Anchor. I'm going to drop the link down below. And that's it. I'm just giving him some fan love because I listened to the podcast and I was like, so fire. So the other thing I would just say about podcasts, it gives you an opportunity to listen to a one-on-one conversation with an industry leader and an industry thought leader, like an industry professional and a thought leader in the industry. So why aren't you listening to podcasts? I don't know. That's quintessential to building your own mental acuity, your own industry expertise, as reading books about your industry. And if you're not reading books about your industry, that's another problem. So I wrote some notes so I can share this with you. Again, Dismissed by Jeremy Williams, episode 407. with Brandon Busteed. I will see you guys Monday in Washington, D.C. for Busteed's event at the Gallup, Creativity and Learning, preparing today's students for tomorrow. It's going to be fire. Peace.